Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the XP Deus Meter Detector. It comes sold in various options, from a remote control box to the ws4 headphones. But we'll get into that in just a little bit because there's a different option for all your budgets and all your needs. So stick with me. Let's hop right into it. Every Deus comes with this telescoping rod. This is where you hold on to it with your hand. It has an armrest right here. There's a little screw. You can move the armrest back and forth if you want a couple inches. There is slots in the armrest here to put a Velcro strap if you want to hold your arm in, but to be honest with you, it's so lightweight you don't need it. It also has a little stand so when you set it down on the ground it stays upright. The telescoping pole has two of these cam hooks. So the top first pole goes all the way out, then the second pole, you pull it and adjust it to where you want it, and then you lock that cam in place. If you're tall enough, unlike me, you'll see a little scale here on the side, so you can always tell where you put it, but I just know where I set it. In addition to the main unit like this, you will have the coil. This is a 9-inch coil. There's also an 11-inch round coil like this, and there is a 11 by 13 DD coil, and I believe now they've even come out with a couple more. But you'll mount the coil just using this simple screw here that it comes with. If you break this screw, you can always buy a couple more, or you can go to your hardware store and buy a longer screw. But this screw does have 4 parts. When you slide this shaft in, the screw goes that way. There is a little rubber washer that fits in right here. Then the shaft fits down in here. That will be snug. And then you can't see this, but there's a little spacer thing here, and it only goes one way. If you look on this side of the little bracket here, you'll see that the hole is kind of like shaped weird, and it only fits in one way, and it goes in that way, and then you have the thumb adjustment wing nut. You want to tighten this up just enough so that you don't break it, but just enough to hold your coil. When you're using your coil, you want it to be adjusted so it's flat. So when you swing it, you're going flat. You're not going like that. Okay, you're going flat and you're overlapping to get the most exposure. In addition to the coil, you will have a coil cover. This coil does have a battery built in. The coil is waterproof. However, you can stick it in the like a stream all the way up to the control box and it won't hurt it, but you won't hear a signal unless you buy the additional little wire transponder that hooks to this and then sends a wire up here so that the wireless signal can go to your control box. But you can hunt in the rain and not have to worry about it. It has the same battery in here that charges up as the headphones and as the control box, the remote box. The only bad thing about this is, unless you're kind of tech savvy, it's hard to replace the batteries. They do sell a kit, but on this coil and the other coils, it's better to send it in. All the coils have a matching serial number. They all have to be matched up either to your headphone or your remote control box. They're all unique that way. It's pretty simple to do. When you buy one, no matter what configuration you buy, it'll already probably be configured. But if you want to add the other size coils to hunt with, depending on your budget or what type of hunting you do, then you can add them and then toggle between them either in your headphones or in your remote box. All of them come with this charger. It's a little USB charger. You plug it in the wall. There is an optional one for the car, and that charger has a USB cord that comes with it on one end and 3 little mini USB ports on the other end. So you can charge from 1 to 3 different components at the same time. So basically, if you were to start off with just the headphones, you could just charge your headphones. Or if you wanted to charge the headphones and the coil, you could do that with 2. Or then you could add the remote control box and charge all 3. remember, all the batteries are the same, so they may, charge a little faster because the headphones and the control box last a little longer battery-wise than the coils do. I think they go anywhere, depending on your power settings, from 11 hours to 20 hours on the control box and the headphones, yet the coil only goes from like 8 hours to 11 hours or something like that. You'll see it in the manual. In order to charge your coil, or to make it charge, you simply plug that in the wall, put the USB in there, and plug in your accessory. The only exception is this plug right here has to go to this adapter, which is included for your coil. You simply plug it in the side, and you have to make sure that the coil cover is on the coil, or this little connector will not fit. So it looks like that when it's connected, okay? But this coil cover has to be on, and the reason for that is, I don't know if you can see those, but there's little slots here, okay? And one is a little wider than the other one. So once you put the coil cover on correctly like that, then you will take this charger, it's just a little squeezy thing, and make sure this is facing that way towards the wing nut. Excuse me, yeah, that's right. And then push it all the way down. And when this coil is charging, there's a little blue light here that's blinking every once in a while. That's because it's already charged. But while it's charging, it's a solid blue. When it's done charging, it'll cycle like every 3 seconds. And then once it's fully charged, it'll go ahead and just blink like that. So that's how you know when it's charged. I'm going to go through the accessories real quick and the options so that you can see the different levels of things and what they may cost. So there is an optional car charger. There's an optional battery charger that you charge up at home, and use it on the fly out in the field if there's no electricity. It's basically a battery bank. There's a little solar charger. I've never used any of those, so I don't know how they work. I know there's aftermarket things, but that may void your warranty. The next, like I was telling you, is the coil that comes with the Deus, a 9-inch, then the 11-inch, which is over here, and then the DD coil. Now, whether you buy these extra coils, are pretty expensive, and they all have their own batteries, and they're all wireless, like I said. That's, between you and your budget. When you're setting up your Deus to buy it the first time, you're going to see it ranges in price from around $750, I think, to about $1,500. And that depends if it comes with these ws4 headphones, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. That little headphone is a control box in itself, as well as the ws5. That has a little control box in it. So you can use the Deus with just the headphones. Okay, the difference in these is this headphone can disconnect, and you can buy this little adapter, and with this adapter you can then plug in your favorite headphones if you like it, because when you're wearing these you can't see the little scale on here, you can only hear the tones. So some people only use tones, which most good metal detectors do, and so they'll just stick this in their pocket. They'll just wear these on their head and not see it. But some people want to have better headphones that wrap around but don't want to buy the Deus headphones. So you can buy this adapter, and then you can plug your own headphone, and you can also attach this little round unit right to the detector itself instead of the control box. There is no audio out on here unless you buy that adapter. Both of these headphones control the Deus, and they have things like ground balance and sensitivity and scrolling through to 10 programs. We'll get into that later. This little adapter here is what I was telling you. If you want to do searching in water, as long as you don't get the headphones or the control box wet, you can then submerge your coil down in the river or whatever, and basically this little wire goes up the shaft so that the radio signal now goes to your headphones or your control box. This is an armband case. I know they make one that's for the control box, which is square. They also make one if you just want to wear your your headphone module. Once again, back to the headphone module, I prefer listening to the tones more than I do looking at the actual numbers. However, the numbers have their place, and there's other information that's on there that we'll go through. But in the control box, there's a lot more. But when it comes to the little headphone ones, basically, you know, I'm really relying on the tones, and so should you. So we'll get to those headphones and the options, and we'll tell you all about it. So basically, when you see these for sale and you're getting confused, what you'll do is, I still have the plastic on there, so maybe a little shiny. You're going to see like the Deus is sold with the ws4 headphones, and that might be $750. Or I don't have the ws5, it might be sold with just the ws5 headphones, and that might be, you know, $1,100 or $1,200 or $1,500, I don't know. Anywho, or it might be sold in combination with this and an extra coil or something. Buy it with these headphones, you can buy it with the other headphones, or you can buy it with either headphones and the control box over here. And the control box, which they call the remote, this is good because now this just hooks right onto the Deus here. You can see all the numbers and do whatever. But the main part of this is it has more buttons and you have a lot more menu items you can go through. So I'm not going to get into how to program all these. There's plenty of videos on how to do that. But let's just start here just to show you how to turn these on and off. Alright, to turn on your little headphones, the first thing you're going to do is open them up. They're kind of fragile, so you want to be careful when you're opening them. They only fold one way. Just fold one ear like that, then fold one ear like that. So now you're hanging down. And then this part right here, you know, that folds, and now they just go on your head, and this goes around the back, kind of like that. When you're wearing these like this, obviously you can't see this, so you would turn it on, and when you do turn it on, just one click to the button right there, you'll see that the screen lights up, and you'll also see, I don't know if you can see this down here, but see the coil down there flashing a bunch? So now it's telling you what's going on. Right now it's not reading anything because I'm in the air over there, but it's telling you what's going on, and up here it has a little battery level, and up here it's telling you the coil's connected and it's detecting. There's a menu button that you can press here to go through the different menu items, but it's kind of a pain. You'll have to sit down with your manual and figure out how to do it. But we're just going to turn both of these off. We're going to turn this off right at the moment. You just press the minus and the plus together to turn it off. So once again, you just press it once real quick. It'll come on. It'll take a couple seconds, and you'll see this coil flash here once it recognizes the coil, which it'll do here in just a second. There it is. If I was to take this quarter over here, I don't know if you can see that. You can see it flashing about a 95. So what I was telling you about these headphones is you can take these apart, just slide these off like that, and that's where that little adapter would go. So now they make another adapter. If you had that adapter, you could now put this on the thing and watch your numbers, and then you would have a little audio jack that's on that adapter that could come out and have a pair of wired headphones, which you can buy because it only has this one little port here for charging. Okay, so that's where you stick your charger in, and then once again, just to turn this off, hit the minus and plus once, and it's off. Next option up is having the ws5 headphones. Those are headphones that go completely over your ears. They have a little bit of outside noise cancellation. Some people like them, some people don't. Some people like these because they can wear a hat better with them. I mean, who cares? I mean, but the big thing about the two differences is one, this has no really noise cancellation from outside because you only have these little muffs right here. And the second thing is the ws5s, you cannot, you know, watch the numbers and take this off like you can and buy the adapter for this one. So to be quite honest with you, I would rather have this one and then buy the little adapter. And they make aftermarket headphones like Grey Ghost or something that actually have that little adapter already on it, and then you could stick this on. Or if you do stick this on an adapter and wear it on the headphone, then you're back to not being able to see the numbers again. If you buy the little adapter, stick it here, and get a corded headphone, then you can see, you know, the numbers. So that's a disadvantage of the headphones if you really rely on numbers, and you don't get as many menu options. So you either buy it like this, or you buy it with the other headphones. The next option up, obviously, is then to buy the main control box. Now keep in mind with this control box, if you bought it with this headphone or with the other headphone and 1 coil or 5 coils or whatever, generally it will come all set up like they've already, put the serial numbers of the coil, they turned it on and typed them in and did whatever to either headphone and this. So that way they're all set up. If you buy an additional coil, you can always do it later. Also, if you only have this headphone or the other headphone and you have a coil set up in it, later if you buy this and add it to it, you will have to add the coil to this one. Now, going forward, once it's set up, it's already in there. So if you turn on your headphone and turn on this, what's going to happen is this is going to automatically just send the data here, and you're going to, know that your coil's around, so you can swap coils in and out just using this. So when you buy this, now your machine has went from, an $800 machine up to a $1,200 or $1,300 machine, or more depending on other options. But this works pretty much like that does. It's just more involved because you have more buttons. You push this bottom left button, the XP Deus pops up. It tells you what version it is. It'll ask you if you want the speaker or not the speaker. If you're using the headphones, you would say no. If you have no headphones, you can always say yeah. And then, okay, as you can see, once again, we'll just go through this real quick. If I use this quarter, it's going to ring in at 95, 96, so that's giving you a digital readout as well as a tone. You can set your tones, you can set your different sensitivities, you can notch things in and out. I'm not going to get into all that right now because there's a lot of YouTube videos and it would take hours. This is a very, this machine can be set for the basic pre-programmed programs for a guy brand new can run it and get used to it. I'd recommend that any program you're using, you use it for 30, 40 hours before you make any changes to it. And if you want to build your own programs, I'd really wait till you had a couple hundred hours under your belt. Second tip I would give you is stick with one type of detecting. When you first buy your unit and you're deciding what coils to get or what kind of detecting to do, if you're doing coin huntings and things like that, stick with the little 9-inch coil. If you're going to the beach and want to get a little deeper and things, maybe, go to the other 2 coils, especially the DDs, a little bit better in mineralized grounds, or if you're relic hunting or whatnot. But what you decide to do, and my tip would be, is stick with one thing first. Get to know your detector, the programs, 1 or 2 programs really good, but do the same type of detecting. If you're always detecting in a park, detect there for 100 hours. If you're detecting in a beach, detect there for 100 hours. Don't bounce back and forth because you're trying to learn the different tones of this thing and the different sounds and how it reacts to different settings. And if you keep bouncing around from beach to mineralized ground, to hunting for gold, doing just coins, it's just going to make the learning curve a lot longer. Anyways, back to the screen. Up here you have the little battery that flips between the battery and the Deus, and right there you can see it was showing the coil. So it'll show you the battery level of both. These words right here, that's the program you were in. When you turn it on and off, whatever program you were in last, that's where it's going to turn on at. This bar here is your notch bar. That white shows everything it's accepting from 0 to 100, meaning if I wanted to notch out some things like items 35 through 34, through to 60, whatever, I could notch all those out, and there would be a little black spot, meaning if a piece of iron was 36, 37, 38, and I notched all those out, then that black spot, the detector wouldn't even beep or show it, okay? It's just going to ignore it. For right now, you want to leave everything open. All metal mode means you're digging everything, and you're also going the deepest. The more you start notching stuff out and putting discrimination in, then you're going to start losing, depth of your targets, and you're going to start losing good targets. I know it's annoying, but dig everything at first, at least for your couple $100, and slowly work in the notches and use it sparingly. The next number up here is your sensitivity. Here again, there's different things in your manual. I'm not going to go through it, but you want to stay around 90. If you have really good ground and there's no electrical magnetic interference like, telephone poles or other metal detectors, then you can set that up a couple notches, or you may have to set it down a little bit. The other one is your ground mineralization. That's around 90. You may set it down a little bit. There's ground bouncing and all that. That's in your manual. And that's what this little bar is. If this bar is white, that's showing you the ground mineralization is pretty good. If you start getting black stuff in there and speckles and all that, then that means the ground mineralization is getting bad. Up here in the Northeast, we have some bad pockets. You know, obviously, if you're in a gold field, you're going to have a lot of bad ground. If you're at a beach, you're going to have bad ground. So you can adjust that as you go along. The next thing you'll see is these three things on the bottom. They're controlled by these three buttons, and as you press the menus, the options or whatever, you'll toggle back and forth with these two buttons to go up or down, accept or whatever. In this black box, that's where your number's displayed when you do get a hit, but it's also showing you that little number there, and that's the frequency you're on. And different frequencies work better for different things, you know. The 4 hertz frequency, the 8 hertz frequency, the 12, and the 18, I think are the 4 in there. Then you have your horseshoe. One side is ferrous and one side is non-ferrous. So if you see a good, you know, target like that, you see how that little black right there is showing up on the... So it's showing me that's about a foot away from the coil. So this whole side of this thing lit up, because if the whole side lights up, or goes black rather, then that's meaning it's deeper. If only the top part of it, it means it's shallower. If this side over here lights up, then that means it's non-ferrous, like a, you know, piece of junk like tin can, iron. So, you know, better targets are always on the right, and it just depends if it's the top, they're shallow, or excuse me, if it's the top, they're really deep. If it's filled all the way, they're shallow. So once again, this is just barely reading that. See, it's just at the very top there, and I'm about a foot away. But when I get close, and you can see the whole thing lights up. So that's basically the menus, you know, and what it looks like. To shut this off, this button over here on the left, just press it and hold it, and it'll just go off. So I hope you enjoyed that video. You know, I hope that I answered most of your questions. You know, what these headphones will do and what they won't do, what the other headphones will do and what they won't do. Basically, the main thing to remember is how they come apart. You know, your budget, you know, a $750, $800 detector nowadays is a pretty, you know, medium upper end detector. But for that kind of money, to be able to get this technology to start off with at that price is really good. And of course, if you add the other options to really get into it in the expert modes and all that, I mean, you can fine tune this thing down like you wouldn't believe. If you really want to get that carried away with it. I've been detecting since I was about 7 years old for, you know, almost 50 years now, believe it or not. Yeah. Anywho, so you know, I've gone through a lot of detectors, and I've seen a lot of advancements. You know, this detector, you know, I'm not going to split hairs and start getting into all the arguments about this one is a ½ inch deeper than the other one. Look, this detector is going to pick up dimes at 10, 11, 12 inches depending on your soil, just like a lot of other good detectors. And it's going to pick up quarters and larger objects, maybe even more. It's fast. It's going to separate through trash with the best of them. You know, the difference is, you know, no cords, very convenient. One type battery for the charger that charges them all. You know, you have different options on which things you want to use, whether you want to wear them or hear them, or, you know, how in depth you want to get with all the menu items. So it's just a great detector. It's very lightweight. Your cords aren't getting hung up in the brush. You know, it's really come a long, long way. So I'm real happy with this detector. I hope that, you know, whatever configuration you buy it, you're happy with the detector as well. So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, there'll probably be another one popping up over here for you to watch. Or you can always hit our subscribe button that pops up here, or the little button down there. Don't forget, leave your comments down below, and I'll try to answer you when I can. So you have a great day. Like our video, share it on Facebook or your favorite social site, and we'll catch you next time around.